I was actually lucky enough to be one of the first people, in the UK at least, to make a video on the Cornerstone Gladio back when it came out maybe a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. You know, that was well before the hype around this pedal sort of set in. Now, however, since then it's become one of the most talked about dual overdrive pedals like out there. Back then when I made that original video, I said that it was one of the best overdrives I'd tried and my all-time favourite amp in a box type overdrive. So I've actually finally managed to get my hands on one for myself to keep, and you know, do I still feel the same way a year and a half, 2 years later? That's what we're going to find out in this video. To give you a few different Dumble amp tones in a pedal, and Dumble amps are seen by many as sort of the holy grail of guitar amps, or the holy grail of guitar tone even, used by some of the most prolific guitar players ever. John Mayer, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Eric Johnson, Scott Henderson, Robin Ford, you know, the list goes on. Serious guitar players play Dumble amps. And if this pedal truly can even just get us in the same ballpark of a Dumble amp, then surely that is a win straight out the gate. We have two channels, two sides of this pedal. Side one aims to give us a Robin Ford type Dumble tone. It's smooth, it's open, it's sort of maybe less compressed than the second side, and also less gain. If you want a little more or a little less compression even, there's a little compression switch. And this really doesn't change the tone of the pedal too much, it's more about how it feels under the fingers. Side 2 gives us a sort of a more Scott Henderson type dumble tone. These are all sort of inspired by, but a Scott Henderson type dumble tone, which to me sounds more aggressive, more raucous, more high gain, more sizzle on the top end as well. If you do want to turn down that aggression though, we have a jazz rock switch here. The jazz mode basically smooths things out, mellows things out. And here actually is the first difference I've had this time round approaching this pedal than the first time. The first time round, I was really all about the rock mode. High gain channel 2, rock mode. Let's do this, let's rock out with the Gladio. This time round, however, I'm much more leaning to the jazz mode on side 2, and also lowering the gain quite a lot. This is much more my sound now, and I'm sure that's more down to the development of my own playing and my ear, I suppose, instead of the pedal actually being any different, because it isn't. It doesn't stop there though, we have a third dumble type sound in this pedal. The two sounds together, the two sides together, stacking the two, aims to give you an Eric Johnson type lead tone. Think Cliffs of Dover. It's thick, it's juicy, it's really quite compressed at this point, but still has clarity and string separation for days. Side note as well, this is the version 2.1, I think, version 2.1 of this pedal, the newest version out there at the moment, and this gives you the ability to essentially split the two channels with a Y cable, a Y jack cable or a splitter jack cable in both sides. This gives you the ability to put each individual side into, say, 2 loops on a pedal board switching system, or even you could sort of insert pedals in between the two sides, which is a really cool way of sort of working and probably how I would do it. However, I do not own any of those splitter cables, so I might have to report back to you on that. Okay, so that just about covers what the Gladio is. What do I think now? You know, I've had some time to sort of learn this pedal a second time round, and sort of integrate it into my own playing now, 2 years later. And do I think it's worth it? Do I think it's worth all the talk, the hype, the money? Okay, so bottom line is the Gladio is really good. It's really fucking good. But I was also surprised by how differently I remembered it. Specifically with the second channel, I'd say. This is such a harmonically complex and rich tone, more than I've heard from any other pedal. Even so that it's actually, I found it to be a little much in a few situations, like it's really got a lot going on harmonically, which is actually why I've been leaning towards the first channel more this time around. But when the second channel is right for, you know, those lead sounds, or to rock out a bit more, if there's a bit more space in a mix, there's nothing quite like channel 2 on the Gladio. Channel 2 has a very crisp, sort of almost broken gain structure going on that actually reminds me of pedals like the Hudson Broadcast even. You know, it's very preampy, it's broken, it has that sizzle on the top end that's really going to help you be heard in a mix, but there's so much else going on as well. Across both channels actually, and even when you stack the two together, the thing that hits you in the face the most is the sheer clarity of the pedal. Crank all the gain on here and you still have sync string separation and definition all the way up the register. You know, play big chords with all 6 strings and you're going to hear all 6 strings. It's quite incredible actually. For me though, that means I can run the tones in general quite a bit darker than I usually would and what I usually would on my other pedals. This makes this a real great option, different gain option on my pedal board. You know, my other drives tend to be set quite bright, but I don't have to do this with this pedal. I can set them quite dark, which to me is sort of a more Dumbly type tone anyway, but still have that clarity. In my opinion, usually the hype around a pedal, or anything for that matter actually, in any sort of world, the tech world, cars I guess as well, the hype around the pedal is a quick way to be disappointed once you finally get your hands on the pedal. It's next to impossible for anything to live up to that much acclaim, and you know what this pedal might do for somebody else, it almost certainly won't do the same thing for you. The Gladio, however, is one of the few things in the guitar world that lives up to that hype, in my book at least. That being said, of course, I am going to shoot this pedal out against the Analog Man King of Tone and the Protein, so stay tuned for that. But now, thank you guys for checking out the video. If you like what you saw, please subscribe and maybe check out some more, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.